All right, this is Content Crisis. We're going to cover both Alien versus Predator movies today. So, Jason, you ready to rip these apart?
I can't wait.
Yeah. How did you... I mean, I say that. I didn't like them. I didn't think there was a lot there.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to just go straight into the likes and dislikes there?
Let's do it. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think we know what this is about.
Sure. I figure we can just tackle both. You know, we can do likes and dislikes for both. And,
Yeah.
You know, because they're, the same storyline. Anyway, I was very mad. So for me, the idea that the Predators are sort of like an integral part of mankind's advancement is an interesting concept to me.
Yeah, it was kind of it would have been a cool move had it been used in really an interesting way, but
yeah, or why couldn't I thought if the movie was kind of set back then, maybe would be interesting. The concept of the two creatures going at it is obviously cool. That's the main attraction of the movie. And then my dislikes are pretty much the majority of the movie. I think I'll focus on the two most unforgivable things to me, just so I'm not droning on like an asshole. The mishandling of the Bishop situation is completely insane.
Yeah.
Like I was infuriated by that because I think there's a way to do that right.
and
Where
this wasn't it, man.
right. Like if you recast that guy, because obviously what's his name? I should have wrote his name down. Whatever the guy's name that plays that character is old as shit at this point.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think you recast that guy as kind of a younger guy. You name him Bishop and all that. I think that's fine. And then there has to be some sort of hinting to like the discovery of the cryo sleep or something near the end of the movie. You can do that right, and he can,
or
maybe
I
go
mean,
into
better
cryo
yet, just
sleep.
be like, oh yeah, also we're experimenting with like cloning technology, so they can bring me back later on. Like anything along that lines would have been sufficient to make it kind of make sense.
Right.
But yeah, definitely just putting Bishop in here was like, hey, we need someone from the other movies, so we need you to be in this one.
Yeah. Someone from the other movies to have some dialogue, because obviously the Predators and the aliens weren't talking a lot.
No.
So that, I mean, I guess with the cloning situation later, if you have the DNA samples, maybe, that we could assume, we can
but
do
like,
that work.
That would have been an easy bit of conversation to explicitly put out there rather than giving everybody like kind of way too much backstory for why they're there.
And like completely like not really relating it to the rest of the shit.
This
like,
guy kind of knows ruins. This lady climbs mountains kind of well. Oh shit, we're 30 minutes into the movie
and we haven't seen a fucking creature yet.
Yeah.
So that for me just unforgivable the way they do that.
100%.
And I think the other thing is just the handling of the gestation periods of these fucking aliens.
Very inconsistent.
Like this one girl in there, like pretty much immediately.
Yeah, the blonde spiked-haired lady.
Yeah.
Who had the gun.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's coming out of her, and then the Predator has it the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
And
well, he's got a stronger chest. It takes longer for it to burst out.
I suppose, but that was the other thing.
That lady had the weakest chest. She was built from glass.
That was kind of the other thing I was thinking is like, well, that thing. I mean, as many times as that Predator got, entry exit wounds from those alien tails.
Yeah.
That alien didn't have to bust out of his chest. I mean, there were many.
He could have dug his way out.
Many exit options.
There were passive lesser resistance.
But I just thought, okay, I lied. 3 things. The Predator effect of the lion roar.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
They just needed a sound effect. I'd like to think that they put in like a stock sound effect, like, hey, we need to put in like a Predator noise here, and they forgot it and then just left a lion roar in there.
Yeah.
Because like that's what it felt like.
Yeah. I hate. Yeah. I was very mad.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So as far as the likes, it's like this movie had every reason to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
So like and I'll talk in the point, but like if we went with like the Alien 1 approach for the first chunk of it, slower build up, and then we went with the Predator 1 approach where it's more action oriented and fight for survival kind of thing. Boom.
Yeah.
Killer movie. And they just wasted that. So I guess I just really liked the fact that we get to still be in the universe. We get sometimes cool action sequences. They really started to nail down the CGI for the Alien. This was at least decent. You know, this was pretty acceptable to me compared to the third one.
Yeah.
Where we had the really shitty, shiny, glossy alien. You know, it wasn't working for me. But in this one, I thought they looked good.
Mm-hmm.
The queen design is like still like the littest fucking thing ever. I love just the creature design of the alien queen. It is the coolest thing. I don't care what you say. But mostly, you know, a lot of this was just like stapled together things of like, oh, this person's here for this reason, kinda, and then this person's also here for this reason, kinda. Also, like Bishop and Wayland are involved, kinda.
Yeah,
it's like we're just stapling together things we know, like we wanted to encompass the story, but we didn't bother to like parse it down to make it an interesting like telling of all these different pieces.
Yeah,
and it just took everything to waste. Like we when we look at like Alien, what was really great about that is we were just dropped in that world.
Yes.
You know, we didn't get a lot of context and like build up in like the character backstory or like motivations or anything. Like we were a group of people in a ship going to a place. We were doing things, and then pandemonium ensues.
Right.
And then in this one, it's like we have such like clear expectations of why anyone is involved, why we're going on this trip. Like it seemed like such an odd way to just move this storytelling away from something that very clearly worked and was successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If we go into likes, dislikes for Requiem, the concept of the Predalien, you know, is pretty cool.
Pretty cool, especially because he's like this guy, kind of bigger, hulking alien.
Right.
He's got the mouth tendrils and everything. It was kind of neat.
It's a very cool concept. And that is where the cool of this movie ends. Like, I mean, the casting was shit. The acting was shit. The story was shit. The side plots of this movie are bad.
Was this like just like brightness wise? This was a dark fucking movie. I felt like it was so hard to see anything in this movie. Perfect
time. Okay, so on the public reception shit, this review, one of the critic reviews, Alien vs. Predator Requiem is literally shrouded in darkness, and and the only explicable reason for this pitch black visual schematic is that the filmmakers understood it was better if no one could see what the fuck they were shooting.
That is the
fantastic.
Best. That is it. That was Requiem. Thanks, guys.
We can end it right here. Thank you, Nick Schrager from Slant Magazine.
Just doing the Lord's work out there.
Yeah,
that's good.
Fantastic. So honestly, yeah, that's where it ends. Is that the cool concept of the Predalien? I don't care about this kid's pizza delivery job and that, you know, he gets bullied by the boyfriend of this chick he's got a boner for, like, you know, who they just kill anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
I love
in a
that,
hilarious
though.
fashion.
Yeah, loved that.
Hilarious fashion.
Loved it.
The only other good thing I have to say about this is, you know, the visuals have come along a little bit since the previous movie. The previous movie looks okay, but you know, this looks better. I think I don't know if they went more practical or if they just mastered the CGI better in this movie. But there was some, again, AVP didn't look bad.
Yeah.
But there was some things that were a little
more
like
so in this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird too. Just sorry, we'll finish up on this. I got comments for AVP 1. So yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, right? Like the Predalien, is that the term we're using? All right.
Well, okay, and so I didn't make up a word there. Like I read that from somebody else online.
Okay.
So like I was like,
oh,
is this a thing?
Sure.
Word? All right.
But yeah, like super cool, and like some of those alien like interactions that we got with it, where it was like spitting down the eggs down, you know, the pregnant lady's throat. It was like, okay, it's cool. Like we're seeing again like that evolution of the alien, where like once it goes through like a cycle of like getting some DNA out of something new, it learns how to do something different.
Yeah.
So like for whatever reason, coming out of a predator, it learned to spit up the eggs directly rather than going through the face huggers.
Which is rather hilarious. I like it was just like a very nasty but kind of funny visual.
Yeah.
As you see the eggs getting pumped down her throat.
Yeah. You know, so I like that kind of stuff there, right? Because we got a little bit of that, you know, as we went through just the Alien series, where we see, depending on what it bust out of, it gets, you know, kind of some new qualities and stuff there.
Yeah.
So that's neat. But yeah, pretty much everything else in this was just garbage. Like the people story side of it, like, doesn't matter in any capacity. We had a ton of characters, and not one of them mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of them moved the plot along in any way. It was just, we happened to be following this group of people, which, like, in reference to the first Alien movie, that's exactly what we had, but they somehow found a way to make them matter even less than us not knowing about them. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, and that's just an incredible feat of storytelling.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Sure.
Well done on that. Poorly done.
And, just kind of a thing that's kind of like a shame with this too is, like, also with the dislikes is just that, like, set piece wise, like, in Antarctica's cool. It's desolate. It's cold. Like, there's a lot, like, visually it's very interesting, and most things are high contrast.
Yeah.
And we're just in, like, a small town. And, like, sure, that's, like, kind of scary because some people are in small towns and they're like, oh, this could happen in mine. And,
sure.
There's, like, that little bit of that. But it's, like nothing outside of just the aliens and the predators was, like, a visually cool thing to look at any point in this. And, again, shrouded in darkness because they didn't even want us to see it is just the best description.
Well, and so, I mean, if you remember when we were doing Predator 2... I'd kind of read about, like, some of the thoughts and whatnot, the ideas that had been pitched about where to do Predator 2 and stuff. There was the whole snow idea. And we loved that.
Waiting.
Like, we still wanted that. Because, like, even though this happened, not that cool. Like, you very rarely featured, the Predator. Like, a lot of the things you could have done with, like, Predator and camouflage. You see the footprints in the snow coming at you. Like, whoa, hey, what? Dark. Even in the first one, pretty dark.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing. Like, a dynamic that really could be cool. I don't know if they're planning on making anything else, since there was Prey.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's leading into anything else, but
I don't know. I hear that was pretty successful. I haven't looked at numbers or anything for it, but
watched
it seemed
yet,
like it got
I,
pretty good reception. So
I look forward to us getting to it. But, Anyway. Do you want to do public reception stuff, or do you want to go into our bad section?
Let's go into the bad section. I think we're only going to mirror the public reception of these weren't great.
Okay. So apathetic on this a little bit, I would say, because it was already pretty bad. So making it worse isn't really. It's actually kind of a difficult task, really. So for my bad trailer. It kind of doubles as my bad summary as well on AVP. Archaeological discovery goes wrong. Like, they're discovering their underground bullshit. Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that as my summary as well. Because it'd be very easy to make it look like that. You have the, kind of the history clips of when they're telling that backstory.
Yeah.
And then, the humans building the stuff in the past and them, then them getting underground, and obviously it goes wrong, right? So that kind of hitting the point but missing the point at the same time, as well for the summary. So
sure,
yeah.
So bad movie trailer I had. We could take all of Lex's, like, ice climbing and exploration scenes where it was, like, mostly just her, and we're kind of framing it in, like, man, could this day get any worse? As far as, like, the pyramid shifting around and her, like, falling. We take some of the scenes from the end with, like, the cracks in the ice and everything there, and then could this day get any worse? And then it's the scene with the alien queen just charging right at her, and then just hard cut. That's it. I thought that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
And then also the other idea I had for a bad trailer was we take all of the murder scenes from the aliens and we frame it as, like, a nature documentary. Like, we're just following, like, an alien, and it's like, you have Morgan Freeman on and be like, the alien is a bad motherfucker. Just describing it like you would a nature documentary. I thought that would be pretty funny. And then, bad summary I had. This is from the Predator's perspective. Hunting trip with the boys goes terribly wrong.
Oh, sure. And then my casting, I'd say I put more effort into. I think they did a bad enough jobs themselves, honestly. But let's just throw some big names in there from 2004.
Sure.
Right? So let's say Christian Bale's Bishop. Tom Cruise is Sebastian, and Hilary Swank, from $1 Million Baby. She's Lex. but she still has like the mouth guard in. Let's just make it like ridiculous as possible.
Sure.
Just these big names in this shitty movie, and this just like somehow makes it even shittier.
There you go.
So.
Yep. So my bad casting was a little bit more conceptual. So replacing all of the Predators with just football players in full gear. So it's just a bunch of big buff dudes just trying to shove these aliens out of the way.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be fun. We could replace Lex with Wanda Sykes because I think that would just make this that much worse.
Yeah.
And then replace
seemingly no athletic ability really whatsoever.
Right. Then replacing this movie with a movie that wasn't lame. That would be my last one.
Oh sure. For Requiem, my trailer was just teenagers in love, dealing with school bullies who are jealous. That's just the whole thing. You can cut those together and
yeah.
My summary would have been along the same lines, but just teenager's girlfriend dies.
Sure. I was going with like the rom-com with the twist at it, right? So it was like all the scenes of the two of them together, and then it's like beat up scene, and then the scene of them two together, and then the beat up scene where they're in the pool, and then it's just like a scene of him being kind of frustrated, and then we cut away directly to her being stapled to the fucking wall.
Yeah.
Just to make it look like him do it. If I can't have her, nobody can type of scenario thing,
Yeah.
And then, incidentally, bad summary for this one was also Hunting Trip with the Boys goes terribly wrong because of the
beginning.
Yeah, the beginning.
Yeah. My casting, again, did a good enough job of this themselves, but let's get some more big names from 2007. Right? Ocean's 13 was that year. Let's stick Clooney in as Ricky, the teenager.
Sure.
Just make it like weird as fuck. And then let's make his older brother younger. So let's make Dallas Will Smith from I Am Legend that year.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, it's like this weird, like, wait, you're 16? It's George Clooney with his gray hair and everything and a fucking pizza hat on.
There you go.
He's like, you're supposed to believe he's 16. Just make it look shitty as fuck. And then Knocked Up was in 2007, so let's have Katherine Heigl as Jessie, the girlfriend, and let's make Leslie Mann Kelly, the veteran girl, and it just doesn't fit at all. I think it's fantastic. It's already shitty. Just make it like way
you might
worse.
As well, yeah.
Just inflate the budget as much as you can and make it even worse.
Yeah. For some reason, I got fixated on trying to get the Transformers cast into this, so I had Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox just swapped in.
Sure.
But it has to be Shia LaBeouf's acting from like Crystal Skull level, to where it sucks.
Yeah.
And then it just has to be Megan Fox because she's never really the best in anything she does anyways.
Sure. But she looks good, and so we're like,
it fit the role of what we needed, right? We needed
Yeah.
to watch her get down to her underwear, and then she can get cut in half. It's fine.
Yeah, no big deal. All right. I will say my live tweets didn't really have much. Just me saying what the fuck a lot.
Yeah.
Who want to do the public reception real quick?
Sure.
What would you guess for AVP that the tomato meter was, the actual critical response?
Critical response. I'm gonna guess 23%.
Wow, very close. 22%.
Nice.
Audience score. What would you say?
The audience had to have liked it more, right? So I'm gonna say 40.
Also within 1%.
39%.
39%.
I'm killing it today.
Fucking killing it. Reviews on that one. The title alone betrays an entire Hollywood mindset of rehash, reheat, recombine, replease. Unsurprisingly mediocre. To ingest Alien vs. Predator on its own slimy, divertingly synthetic terms, it helps to forget everything previously known and loved about the franchise monster aliens who get star billing. Expensive claptrap. There are few worthy twists that make the film bearable, but only just. Makes a mockery of the intense and ruthless sci-fi creation defined in the previous highly successful productions. Poorly scripted, poorly directed, poorly cut, poorly cast. The key to Alien vs. Predator, survival of the fittest. The only battle to survive here is the one to stay in your seat until the film's end.
Rough.
Let's get a couple positives here. I love this one. Rating 3 out of 5. What's not to love? Says Jamie Russell of BBC.com.
Wait, he gave it a 3 out of 5 and then said, what's not to love? It's like, you tell me. You're the one who didn't give it a 5.
Yeah. Rating 6 out of 10 by Grant Watson from The Fiction Machine. If, on the other hand, you come looking for two iconic sci-fi horror icons going at it like Godzilla and King Ghidorah at WrestleMania, then Alien vs. Predator is absolutely the movie for you. I don't really understand that. I like the negative ones much better on this one. So,
100% would watch a Godzilla versus even the old shitty ones rather than the AVPs.
So Requiem, what would you say the tomato meter is at?
That one had to have been worse logically. So if you're at 23 for critic, I'm going to go with 17.
All right, a little further off on that one, 12%.
12, okay.
What would you say audience is?
31?
Within one again.
Dang!
30%. Killing it today. Again, we have our darkness comment of the... I love
the
that.
Best comment.
That's the best review. We'll read it one more time. Alien vs. Predator Requiem is literally shrouded in darkness, and only explicable reason for this pitch black visual scheme is that the filmmakers understood it was better if no one could see what the fuck they were shooting. There's another couple negative ones here. At best, the movie's an unpretentious pileup of B-movie cliches, but why Requiem? Time to give it a rest now. A mindless distraction. Fans deserve better. The world's most illogical and boring action horror grudge match between two dull trademark franchise monsters is back on. Scriptwriter Shane Salerno's dialogue is unspeakable. The visceral horror all too familiar, and the ideas distinctly secondhand. Here's one there's only one positive one on the premiere page here. What I found was a cruel and brutal yet entertaining romp through the hallowed ground of the Alien and Predator franchises. Or put it another way, this film is about as good as a sequel to a spin-off could possibly be. All right. So
I think it could have been better.
It could. There's so many things. Both of these movies.
We could have learned from what absolutely fucking sucked in the first one, and then just done that better. But
right. So
we just did it worse.
I would say my first talking point then. How do we save these movies? Which we've kind of gone over a little bit, but if we're doing this again today, how are we saving these?
100% slow pace Alien 1 vibes. The very first intro scene we got in AVP, right? It was I think it was the Predator was out there, right? He killed the dude, and then the alien killed him. Right. That doesn't make any sense, right? Because why was that Predator there to begin with? Why was there already an alien there that was just out there running loose? What the fuck?
Yeah.
The implication, I think, was that was like the whaling town from like 1904 or whatever, so maybe it was like forever ago, but it's like, what? Doesn't make sense.
What?
Just what?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if we get the slower pace, maybe we spent those first 15 minutes instead of building out everybody's like characters and backstories and motivations and stuff. If we just hot dropped the crew in there already, and then we had the slow pace, suspense building kind of horror aspects of them kind of knowing something was going on, being like, are there fucking aliens down here? And then the subtle being hunted there. And then I think at some point, kind of once we pick up towards that center, that's when you drop the Predators in there. They get in there, they start fucking shit up. And then it's like what do we do? Like, who do we interact with? Who do we save? Maybe Lex still kind of figures out there's that little bit of honor system that works half the time to where they don't kill you and you can team up with them and turn this into a buddy cop movie. And you still finish out with roughly some of those same, like, bangs and high points and everything, but you just make it not suck so much.
Yeah, my thing was first off, we just eliminate the second movie. We don't need to go there.
100%. That second movie doesn't need to be made.
And the way we do this is the first one focuses more on that origin story. Again, I thought it was a cool concept that we have the Predators as kind of integral to the development of the development and evolution of mankind. That's how some of our what do you call them, eighth wonders of the world or whatever the fuck you call it, pyramids, that type of shit.
Sure.
Oh, that's how that happened. Predators were like here and doing shit, and there was like a kind of respect of people. They taught us how to do stuff. Yeah.
And a really nice touch that this pyramid used like all like 3 or 4 of the different like styles that like all the different civilizations broke off and ended up using. It's like that's neat. That is a cool way to frame it.
Yeah. So I think that's great. You lean into that more. Maybe we don't do this fucking story where we're we have these explorers in Antarctica and they're supposed to go looking for this temple. Maybe you just focus on that early shit, you know? But if not, if you want to just give, that context or whatever, and you're staying here, develop the fuck out of Bishop. Why grab him from aliens, excuse me, and Alien 3, I guess. Why rip him from that and be like, okay, he's here, and then we're gonna kill him?
Yeah.
Yes, we can track the breadcrumbs to say maybe there was DNA and they cloned him later.
But if we're going to explain everything else, why is that very important plot the thing we have to figure out on our own and guess, right?
And why stick him here and kill him and then just be like, I mean, I guess if you're just saying, well, it's a spinoff, so it's just this is another universe maybe is what we're talking about, but you're using the fucking the creatures, the main characters of the goddamn other series. So I think you develop the fuck out of him, and he survives. Like him and Lex and the Predator get out. Of course, the Predator is killed and taken.
Sure.
But Bishop's there and he's kind of struggling. He's hurting or whatever. And
maybe he makes that out with the fucking gun. Like the blaster or something like that.
Right.
And then it's like that's a reason like what started like the Wayland Industries like technological boom because they were able to re-engineer some of that stuff. Like,
well, what I was kind of thinking was he gets out with Lex. That whole last scene and everything happens, but Lex kind of gets him. Kind of get the what do you call that? Life lighted, right?
Medivac.
Yeah. And then, he's in the helicopter. They get back to Wayland Industries, right? And he's like, I guess I'm going to be the first one to try the cryo sleep, and he, they get in there and, you can kind of cut later to aliens and, there's an AI made after him. Eventually he wakes up and they kind of model the AI after him and he's in Alien 3 for whatever reason. And
sure.
You got to do more with that character. You don't just drop him in. I can't say that enough.
Yeah, it's such a waste. And he is just such a cool character. Like, he was really awesome in 2 and in 3.
Not so much. But again, they fucked up Alien 3. We know this.
Yeah.
And the one other idea I had, if you don't want to go cryo sleep, is maybe this is like the father of the Bishop we see later. And so maybe we feature his son. Maybe Bishop again. Maybe we get him back to Wayland Industries, and he's kind of like on his deathbed, and you have his son, and it kind of looks like, dark hair, kind of looks like this dude. And, maybe we show him, and, you can imply later that, the cryo sleep's invented, and he goes to sleep, he'd take over for his dad, and, later on, and yada, yada, yada. I don't know. There's something there.
Plenty of ways.
So many roads. Yeah. It didn't have to be like this. Anyway, what's your next talking point?
Yep. So harped on it slightly. How does the honor system work in Predator? Like, sometimes we kill unarmed people, sometimes we don't kill unarmed people. Like, sometimes we like to buddy up, sometimes we just like to viciously kill everybody. Like, it doesn't really make a ton of sense. You can slightly put in the context of, like, they talked about how these were basically, like, the teenagers, the one that was in AVP 1. So it's like maybe these are just, like, asshole kids who are just killing, like, rabbits or something to them, basically. And they're like, oh, shit, this rabbit is good at killing these things we're trying to kill. Let's team up with this rabbit.
Right.
But it's like, there's a very, like, high level of inconsistency involved with the way the Predators treat people, especially if back in the day, like, we worshipped them, and they, like, didn't just mass murder us for no reason. It's like, what has changed? I get, like, a lot of time and stuff has changed, but it's like, why is this mutual respect not here anymore? Why do you just kill humans immediately? Like, that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think your biggest problem, again, is, like, number one, you don't do the second movie.
Right.
But if you think about that, it makes me mad. It's like, you think about that. If you are writing some sort of, whether you call this a spin-off or, extension of the series, whatever, you have to look at the first. Predator 2 even broke the rules, right? Because I felt like, now granted, I haven't watched it in a while, and so maybe I'm thinking of this wrong, but I feel like there were some unarmed people that were killed probably on that train, right? They were saying everybody's armed on the train in, LA or whatever the fuck. But, like, I think there's no way everyone on that train had a gun, right? I think that was just their like plot loophole of like, oh, everybody's got a gun on the train in LA.
Sure.
But I think you got to go back to that first movie and you got to write down these rules. Look, it does not kill an unarmed person. You know, that girl was fine. Why? She was unarmed in the woods. Now I'm thinking back. The fucking glowing green blood, like they didn't fucking glowing green blood, man. Like that has to be. What is the point of making glowing green blood if it's not going to be like a, oh, did you see it? Remember the blood on the leaf, the predator?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't happen in 1, didn't happen in 2, it didn't happen in these. You know, I've not watched Prey or The Predator or Predators. I'm sure that one sucks since they basically just redid it. It looks like it sucks. Anyway, I'm way off track here, but like, watch the first thing, follow the fucking rules, don't stray from that. I don't know why people take liberties like that.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a part of the same
like,
series.
Equally, they're like there's comic books for Alien and for Predator, right? So it's
Right.
like even further out, like rules and concepts have been established that
Right.
things can be based off of. And, you know, again, it just seems like all that logically makes sense of rules and things to follow has just been discarded completely.
Yeah. The answer is there is no rules. You know, essentially the long-winded way of saying there is no fucking rules, and it makes me mad.
Yeah. Dog shit.
Yeah. Almost kind of along the same lines of my last question, but like, do you think they could have made just a, and this is kind of in the way of just improving, but do you think they could have just made like a dialogueless half-hour feature with aliens and predators duking it out for whatever reason?
100%.
Like that's what kills me with like the Kong Godzilla type movies. You know, Freddy
I
versus
would watch
Jason.
35 minutes of just the action.
Give me a practical effects / CGI version of just, who knows why they're here? You know, we don't need a lot of context. The whole purpose of this is we want to see the cool fucking, not of this world creatures.
Right.
Fucking duking it out. I don't need these people and these storylines and...
I don't care. That's not why I'm here.
Don't care.
I'm here for the alien versus the predator.
Right.
Anything outside of that is irrelevant.
The more people you have involved in this shit, it just equals bad every time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. The blood spray plot armor against any of the aliens is complete bullshit, though. Like, so many times somebody, like, stabbed or very clearly should have been sprayed by alien blood and just dissolved on sight, especially Lex. And just was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, even so much as being, like, right up under the bunghole of the alien queen, stabbing it up there. She should have been coated. She should have just melted to the floor immediately. And just was able to get through it there.
No big deal.
And I think that's bullshit.
It's absolutely bullshit.
Yeah. And honestly would have been even cooler just to kind of show off, like, just the blood effect if it, like, started to burn through her jacket and she had to take her jacket off or something, you know? Like, if there was just something where it still made it like, yeah, logically some blood is going to get on her, but maybe she was able to act fast enough to get it off. Yeah. You know, I'd live with something like that. But just the plot armor, bullshit. Yeah. And then that kind of also just leads into the, after she gets armed by the other predator, with the tail spear and the skull fucking shield. Yeah. Which, like, on a standalone thing is the littest thing ever, right?
Absolutely.
You use the body parts of your enemy to kill more of your enemy.
Yeah.
Inherently, that is the coolest fucking thing ever. But somehow was still made to be just, like, kind of awkward and uncomfortable because, like, Lex was just freaking out. She had to kill her homeboy. And then she's just like, nope, I'm a badass fucking killer now, and I'm gonna hunt aliens with this other alien, and maybe they'll take me on their ship and fuck me later. I don't know. Yeah. And not to mention just that there would have been blood on the inside of said skull that likely would have just, how is she holding on to the inside of the skull either? So many questions. The Predator is like, he does cosplay or something. Like, he's just really good at, like, fashioning
very good at this. Yeah.
He's like, let me get my sewing kit. Well, you remember Predator 2. He had the, magic jelly and stuff to close up his wounds. And it's like, let me get some plaster and boil this shit together. And...
Still, the best part of that scene is just the fact that there's this otherworldly like when he's like fixing himself, and that old lady's like, I think there's someone in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit, lady. Get away from the door.
Well, it would have been better if that's the one where it was just like the stock lion roar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You hear a lion where you're like, I think there's someone in the bathroom.
I think there's a lion.
Yeah.
Do you think we can ask him to leave?
No, we don't.
I do love at the end of this, like just like in Predator 2, the Predators show up at the end once their buddy's dead. And it's just kind of that concept of like, well, where the fuck were you guys?
Mm-hmm. But it was the Predator's trial, right? They had to complete the trial alone and die. In worst case scenario, they just blow up the world, right?
Right.
And it wasn't any skin off of their teeth. So,
right. That's true. That's the only thing I had on that one.
The second one makes less sense though, because it's like, come on, like you guys knew where that ship was, and you sent one dude.
Like your whole thing is
All right. I know we've kind of talked before about how it's like really interesting when you do have kind of like multiple storylines like happening simultaneously, right? So it's like the Pulp
if they're
Fiction.
done right, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Pulp Fiction.
As long as they gotta link correctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what's just a shame, right? It's like we know that concept works in practice if you have good storytelling, some good characters, some good dialogue and stuff to kind of carry you through it. And definitely this one isn't a movie where I'd want the dialogue to kind of carry us through it just as much as much as like the context kind of bringing the different storylines together. But would this have been better as if we like stuck with just the people and we didn't really stray too far away from them, so that way all of the horror and danger and like unknown was a lot closer, rather than us getting all of the context from like the cuts from the aliens, the cuts from the predators? Do you think that would have helped us at all if we just stuck to the people and followed them and their story rather than trying to get everything's perspective?
I mean, if history's taught us anything, right? I mean, aliens, Predator, not so much Predator 2. I mean, that was a Lethal Weapon spinoff.
Right.
But what all those ones have in common? Also, Alien 3 a little bit. Obviously, it's not as good of a movie. We've hashed that out. Go listen to the previous Alien 3 Resurrection if you want to hear about that. But what do those three have in common? It's a movie about an alien. Not really a lot of alien sightings. It's a movie about aliens. Not really a lot of aliens sightings, right?
Right.
Select times,
It was tactical usage.
Right.
To, create that suspense, create
it
that
is
fear.
always, that like, oh, fuck, And so again, it does give you time to kind of care about those people. As some of those reviews said, like with Requiem, like, the dialogue is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
I'm just cheering for the aliens at this point to kill them all. Really.
Yeah,
they could not die fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Predators, you really built this, thing with them. They're all connected. What was it? Mac and what's his name? The two dudes, they were bros. After his buddy dies in Predator, he's sitting there talking to the moon, talking to his buddy. He's like, "Just you and me, man." There's a connection there with those guys, and you give a shit when these guys die. And so the horror factor of, oh no, the Predator's coming is.
And guess what? We didn't have to do a ton of backstory to know that implied connection was there.
Right.
We just got dropped in knowing these guys were brothers.
And that's a good concept. Either just show me the alien and the Predator and leave out the people, or there needs to be more of a suspense factor. But also, you have no reason for the alien and the Predator to be in the same spot if you do focus more on the people. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know that this one, because you need to finagle the plot to get the alien and the Predator together.
Bit, right. But I don't
know if it works quite as well.
When we went into the room where it had like the weapons and whatnot, it had those like Aztec calendar dials. So it kind of like set the time frame. So maybe like either as an extension of like that ritual room or something, there was something that one of those guys was able to, pick up, read through the, the marking stuff that was like,
Sure.
oh, like there are these like two opposing forces or whatever. And this is, their hunting grounds, where, they create these beasts that they hunt for sport and, as like their adult ritual, right? Whatever. Like, and if, maybe that would have been enough to kind of say, oh, that's why there's two different aliens here. And,
Sure.
That's why there's kind of like this weird hunt and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. You definitely have to kind of shift things to be more of like a hunter-hunted concept, and that the humans were just like worshippers of the operation. But I do think even if they just did that focus, that probably still would have done a little bit of a better narrative.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's more of a caught in the middle type thing, because they almost like try to make it a caught in the middle thing here, but they know something's up.
Yeah.
And that's why they're there. Whereas, I don't know, like if they're on a fucking oil rig or something. I don't know how you do it, but something about the humans aren't really invading. Because I feel like maybe you have to feel sorry for them that they are caught in the middle.
Yeah.
Whereas this is big space once again. This is big space before they have big space.
Yeah. This is bigger.
Right. This is bigger.
This is Walmart.
This is Walmart. And they're, it's before all that. Right?
I'm still just losing my mind because I just remembered
the whole resurrection.
They got bought by fucking
Walmart bought them. Yeah. Yeah, no big deal. Walmart bought them.
Oh, shoot.
But it has to be some sort of caught in the middle type concept, I feel like, where you're like, oh, no, this is a big deal, and you can kind of, sort of what Requiem tried to do with the what's-her-face character. I can't remember her name now, but the veteran that came home, right? Yeah. It's kind of one of those, she got home, but then, oh, we need money, so I'm going to go work on this oil rig or some shit, right? I don't know why I'm focusing on an oil rig, but for whatever reason, maybe
we just need some aliens on a fucking oil rig.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's like some stomping grounds, a long
Alien
time
7,
ago.
Oil rig.
Yeah. Look out for it this fall. Maybe this was like some original stomping grounds, for these aliens and these predators. Maybe they come here every 100,000 years to duke it out.
Sure.
And they happen to be on an oil rig, and so there's casualties of the humans in the meantime. I don't know. I think there's a lot of roads. I think I need to stop asking questions about how do we improve it and just say, like, there's a lot of roads here.
A lot of roads. One of my comments kind of also about the caught in the middle is like the tagline for Alien vs. Predators was whoever wins, we lose, right? Yeah. Which is cool. However,
also they didn't follow up with that concept.
Yeah, right. Like we like as soon as we were able to, we embodied no, I'm on his side. Like, you know what? Like as soon as we found one that wasn't immediately exploding me, I was like, yeah, no, I play for his team.
And so, even though most of the people in this
whoever
movie died,
wins. Some of us are gonna die,
Lex
but
will be all right.
We'll be all right. One of us. We need somebody to make it to the sequel.
Yeah. So. Another concept there. Put Lex in the sequel. That's all I'll say. Just have some continuity with the character.
Yeah.
You bring the Predalien in. That's all I'm saying. I'm done saying, hey, this is how we improve it. Bring Lex to the sequel. So I think my. Okay, I have a couple things. They're all pretty short.
Go for it.
When do you think the first thought of like bring the alien and predators together is? Because if you remember in Predator 2, on the ship in the end, you got the alien skulls in there.
Yeah.
Like obviously someone was thinking about this. Like, do you think? I mean, granted, maybe it's something I should have looked up, but. Is this when do you think this came up? Like, when do you think these ideas started rolling around a little bit?
So like I said, there is a comic book series, so I don't know as far as like the release time if somebody had the comic book like the AVP one already, and then this is just what we lifted the let's do an AVP movie kind of thing.
Sure.
Because I don't know when that comic book came out. So it could be related to just, hey, like, someone else already did this idea. But I think the AVP comic book wasn't like modern times. I think it was still, the space age. So it wasn't, it couldn't have possibly been this bad. You know what I mean?
No, nothing was this bad.
But yeah, I am pretty sure that comic book, series and, kind of idea had been out already. And then we just lifted that. Hey, let's throw them in modern times for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it'd be cheaper. I don't want to do space stuff anymore. Antarctica's cheaper.
I mean, probably. Yeah. I'd rather watch Never Die Alone than watch either of these movies again. And I wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah.
So one of the comments is incredible how long a bad short movie can feel. Like, I watched Oppenheimer last week, and like it was 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt shorter than watching than watching Requiem.
Sure.
Like, Requiem just felt so goddamn long. It was an hour and a half movie.
Yeah.
And there were multiple times in it. I was like, how long is left? What? There are still 45 minutes left? How the fuck?
See, and I had the inverse because I look at it and be like, how was it this far into the movie and, like, not fuck has happened?
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're focusing on this teenager and his boner, with that blonde girl. And, like, and then, Dallas. Which, like, you brought back that Dallas character. That just felt like a spitting on the first movie almost, because this was just so bad.
Yeah, but we like doing that. Like, we've made it very clear we don't hold any respect for this series. So
right, this is true. Yeah. Yeah. So then I think the best part of Requiem is that one girl going, the government doesn't lie to people.
And then everyone just like kind of quickly, awkwardly looks at each other.
Yeah,
like,
and just like, okay. And
just her. Okay.
Okay, good. All right, yeah, we're on the same page. That was the best part of the movie. And then like I would just love that cut of like, the government doesn't lie to people, and cut to like them all being nuked in the center of town, just being incinerated. I think it's fantastic. And then another thing I just love is, the commentary you could kind of have of like, the dude on the radio, how far out's the air left? And there's that kind of silence, and it's like, it's more of an airdrop. It's like,
and what was the point of even warning them? It's like they weren't going to get out.
Right.
But
yeah.
I mean, you got to think, even with the chopper that got out, they still immediately found it and had it surrounded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think anyone was going to make it out of this.
No.
TBH.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fresh out of shit. So.
Nope. My last comment, more in the realm of Requiem, how fucked up is too fucked up? Because definitely in this one, we killed a kid in the beginning.
Sure.
You generally don't kill kids except for that one kid. Fuck that kid.
Fuck that kid from Halloween.
From Halloween.
Go back and watch Halloween Ends from last year, yeah.
Yeah, fuck that kid. So, yeah, but typically you don't kill kids, right? Like, it's just a thing that generally you don't do. And, this type of death is pretty gruesome for a kid. You got to think bursting out of his chest. And we saw at least a chunk of it, right? I don't know. There's a normal version and unrated version. I watched the unrated version, so I don't know what they really adjust. But
I mean, I read it on Amazon. You saw, I think, most of it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, but I was thinking it's like maybe that's the type of stuff that they like, obfuscate a little bit more.
Yeah.
Brutal. You killing a kid or whatever. We go to the hospital, and the pregnant lady, and we get the predalien that drops the eggs down her throat, and then those aliens eat their way out through her stomach. The implication is that those aliens ate the baby that was in her. That's a pretty fucked up thing to do in any movie.
Yep.
Like,
and again, the visual of the fucking eggs being pumped down her throat is very much like, oh.
Yeah. So, it's just that kind of thing, right? It's like, this was a very, like, we just oddly used these, like, really darker concepts and ideas for, like, I don't know if it was just shock value or what it was, but, like, to me, like, those were pretty brutal compared to, like, just, killing people is fine, but, if once you start, and then the alien that was just in the baby room, right? Like, you just have all these screaming, crying babies, and then you just have an alien that's just, like, perched over them.
They don't show that, but it's like, there's the implication of, like,
that alien definitely ate
those
16
babies.
Yeah.
Well, and even without that implication, like, the other implication is, if there are any more babies in that hospital after those aliens, those babies all got nuked.
Yeah.
So
there's not a winning
there's that.
scenario.
There are
that makes
probably
you feel bad.
There are probably babies in the center of town when that nuke drops. Like it's a lot of extremes, and it's almost that horror concept of like, we're gonna show you a lot of like morbid shit, and if there was a better movie to go along with it, you might say that it was, more of a like this could have been sort of that legit horror
slasher
vibe
kind of thing.
Yeah, that maybe could have been classified as a decent horror movie, but yeah, no.
Yeah, it was just odd things to shove in a movie where it's like, wow, that's dark.
Yeah.
I felt a way about watching those. I was like, oh fuck, man. And yeah, even if those babies hadn't gotten ate, they just got nuked.
Yeah.
And it's not like that's better. Maybe that's more instantaneous and,
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, I think that's about it then.
That's about it.
I don't know what's coming up, but well, shit. What do we got coming up? This was AVP and AVP Requiem, and should be next week. Will be I was gonna run this by you, but Halloween Season of the Witch. I was thinking for starting off October for some horror.
Sure.
Not terrible AVP style horror, but
actual.
Maybe get into some Child's Play. I don't know. These are just kind of things I wrote in there. So
yeah, it's been a while since I've seen any of the Chucky movies. So.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I'm thinking Halloween Season of the Witch. So maybe look out for that next week. Just a reminder, all our, a couple weeks ago, or about a month ago at this point, Alien 3 and Resurrection hybrid pod we did. We've done Predator. We did Predator 2, Back a Ways, all the other Alien movies. So, and we're getting to the later Alien stuff. Those made later. So look out for those. Think we're done with Indiana Jones by this point. So look at those. Thanks for watching or listening. Subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your shit, etc., etc., etc. And emails, consequences@yahoo.com. Comments, questions, concerns, insults, positivity, suggestions, whatever you want. So, thank you. Goodbye.